everybody, and welcome to the Weekend Big Show, powered by Lawdog Sports. I am Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog, here with you on another Friday. Hot summertime Friday. We're going to be here with you for the next hour or so, talking sports for the 405, the 580, maybe even a little bit of 940 today. You never know. Talking all kinds of sports here in the region. We've got college football coming up. Let me volume that down. But joining me, as he always does, is the ruler of the airways, Jeremy Schroeder. Jeremy, we've got a big guest on today with us from that's doing a lot of work down south of Red River. But before we get started on that, I just wanted to give you a minute or so to reflect on the career of one Russell Westbrook, who announced his retirement today and couldn't get that last year contract with Sam Presti and the Thunder for a proper going out, but he will retire and be remembered fondly, especially in Oklahoma City fandom.
No doubt. I mean, where do you start with Russ? Day one drafted by the old Seattle Supersonics, made the move to Oklahoma City. Day one guy in OKC as a rookie, played a lot of years in OKC. Was
put
probably
out everything he could. I mean, you every night you'll never look at the career of Russell Westbrook really anywhere, but especially Oklahoma City, and say that he didn't come out every night trying to just demolish his opponent.
Yeah, and he's beloved here in this area just because he's the guy that stayed. He tried to make it work as long as he could until it was clear that a full rebuild was going to happen.
Yeah.
And when he signed the extension after that guy that played his college basketball south of the Red River in the Democratic Republic of Austin,
People's Republic,
pulled up stakes and headed out to join a 73-win team. He signed that extension. It was like he just threw an entire lifeline and a lifeline to the entire community. Like, this is going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Now, if we could have got Rudy Gay, I think we could have won a title that year. That's I've been hearing that a lot, man. If they would have got Rudy Gay that year,
Rudy put in some good years in Memphis for sure.
I think we're overestimating the talents of Rudy Gay just because he was a similar build and stature to the guy that left.
Yeah. Well, and so many opportunities that they had to win the big one during the time that Russell Westbrook and that party you mentioned was here. Just couldn't get it done, came close, but still put up some amazing numbers. True Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. And also I posted the story about him and his childhood buddy who passed away while they were in high school, who was, they wanted to play at UCLA together. And he wore the wristbands his whole career, went out every night, in essence, as it was stated, playing for two. So you could question a lot of the decision making. You could question some of the shot selection, but you could never question the heart, the effort, and the athleticism of that guy.
Well, like the rest of NBA Twitter, you need to just forget all of that and give him his flowers because according to the things I've seen in my feed, he was one of the all-time greats. We forget how criticized he was, and a lot of it was warranted. But as far as a guy who never took a playoff, was, workmanlike, great guy for I mean, he's still invested in this community.
Yeah. Well, obviously Oklahoma City struck a note with him as well.
And he's been gone for a while.
Mm-hmm.
He did his tour.
He went from Oklahoma City to Houston, right?
To Houston,
then Washington,
then the Wizards, then the Lakers, Clippers, and then finally, Nuggets. Ultimately, Nuggets, and then jettisoned straight to basketball purgatory in Sacramento.
So, like I said, it would have been nice to sign him to some little veteran minimum or something somewhere. I know they would have to keep somebody on a two-way or however it works, but it would have been cool.
He doesn't fit with the roster construction. I'm sure he'll get a one day. I mean, do you think at this point a guy that can still play at a high level wants to come off the bench and possibly just be an end of the bench guy who doesn't play?
Maybe. And maybe he's one of those guys that figures, you know what, I'm tired of the grind. I'm tired of the prep. So anyways, but I tell you one guy who's not tired of the prep, and that is our friend John Moore, who is part of the DLLS Texas Rangers Weekly podcast, also has his own podcast, Texas College Football. So Jeremy, with the Rangers still within reach of the AL West,
They closed within 2 games.
they're on a bad streak right
Yeah,
now.
no, they've lost 3 in a row.
3 or 4 from the Angels, but
It's 2 games in a bad division.
It's a bad division. Somebody's got to win it. Don't know if Yordan Alvarez and the Astros will get it done, or if the Mariners will wake up. But our guy that we go to for Texas Rangers talk is one John Moore. I follow him on Twitter at the Recliner Nerd, and he is no nerd by any stretch of the imagination. He covers Texas Rangers baseball in a fine fashion, and then also whatever that brand of football that they carry south of the Red River is. He does a good job on that too.
And Chuck, real quick, what a fitting day to have John on when no, is that Midwestern State?
Is that Midwestern State? Yeah, I wish we had our Wichita Falls audience still.
You know, we're having John on today, and the Rangers and my Cubs both got blank 7-0 yesterday. So
yeah,
look at that.
But you know what? I got on the treadmill today, and I put it on MLB Fastcast, and Pittsburgh had a complete game by a pitcher. And then, oh gosh, who was it? I put it in my notes, but it was audio notes.
You got to write that stuff down.
The Tigers, I think, got a shutout without any strikeouts. No strikeouts, but a shutout in the game, because I think it was Kenley Jansen who
so you said the Pirates?
Pirates starter
Ashcraft.
9 innings pitched. You know, that's a true unicorn, John.
I've never heard of that. Are you kidding me? Is that real?
A complete game? What is this, 1962?
Exactly. Talk about a dead arm.
Who does that?
Yeah.
He must not have been throwing triple digits, huh?
Yeah.
Probably a knuckleballer.
That's as rare as a unicorn. I'm telling you right now. I don't think anybody hardly. I mean, nowadays you're excited to see he's really going out for the 7th.
Exactly.
Gone are the days when Maddox would go out there and have a complete game and throw 78 pitches.
Exactly.
Well, one guy who may start throwing that few pitches and have to start painting the corners a little bit, I noticed this week, was Paul Skeens. Apparently there is a lot of talk about his loss of velocity, but he still pitched well, got the win earlier in the week, and just depends on what they decide to do with him, if they want to shut him down for the season or whatever. But John, we get you on here to talk about Texas Rangers baseball, and I got to say, coming out of the weekend, you have a little hope that, hey, they're still in this thing. They're tight, they within a half game, I think, before the Angels series of Houston, and then dropped 3 out of 4 to a pretty hapless LA Angels team. That didn't bode well. And I think what was most disappointing, and I know last night DeGrom had, some discomfort, during his start, but the night before Quantrill went out there, and I thought was pitching really well. They had the lead, and he was working, but once again, he's taken out, I think, in the 5th or the 6th, and then the bullpen, just commences to give it up. So talk about this Rangers stretch. We missed you on the trade deadline. My apologies, but not a lot of moves there. But what's the status right now of this Texas Ranger squad?
I think the status of everybody in the American League West is don't suck the worst. That's kind of the mantra. If you don't suck the worst, you might be a playoff team. But I mean, for the Rangers, oh my gosh, for the Rangers itself, to be fair, the last 2 nights they've faced absolutely horrible pitching that held them to almost nothing. So give credit where credit's due. That's really not the Rangers' fault. Wait, maybe it was. I don't know. Anyway, I can't figure this thing out. Ranger fans are throwing a fit, as they should. I have defended this team for a long time and have always defended this team. I think the perfect move at the deadline was to do exactly what they did, which was nothing. There was really nobody to sell. I guess the biggest asset you had was probably honestly was Wyatt Langford. You're not going to sell him off yet. Jacob Latz was obviously somebody that they thought could have gone somewhere and probably brought something in return. They weren't going to sell him. They've still got a lot of controllable pieces that right now, I mean, it's like a triage center. These guys keep going in and out to emergency rooms and everything else. But everyone's under control. The nucleus of this team is under control, and there was no reason to go out and do anything when honestly, there's no promise that there's going to be baseball in 2027. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So till you figure that out, I mean, why give up prospects to make a run for it? Because there's nothing that shows you that this team can get on a streak and go. And why sell off? First of all, Jacob deGrom said he didn't want to leave, and we talked to him right afterwards, standing 2 feet from him. He was sincere when he said, I think this team can do it right here. And he's not wrong. I mean, this team can do it, but they're not. The problem is maybe they are just what they are. They're just a mid team that's, I mean, everyone forgets in 2023, they limped into the playoffs. And when they were flying from Seattle to Tampa Bay to take on the Rays in the first round of the wild card playoffs as the last team, we all thought, okay, well, after 2 games, they'll be coming home. And what are they going to do this offseason? And they literally went on that hot streak and went on that run. But I don't see them right now. I don't know how they get in. Now they're a half a game out of the wild card, 2 games behind Houston. Houston can always collapse because that's what Houston can do. But the Rangers don't show that they can go do anything.
Well, the AL just it mirrors kind of the Eastern Conference in the NBA. You've got one.
I'm not a
really
basketball
good
guy, so you're going to have to explain.
Well, usually you have one really good team, and
Good
the rest of the league hovers around 500.
That's it. Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Well, you got Tampa Bay, and then a bunch of guys.
When you said DeGrom said we feel like we could do it, I mean, he could be on about 9 different teams in the American League and feel that way. It's just. I thought that the Red Sox were going to really stay hot and they've been on a tanker. Other than, I guess, maybe the Rays, I don't know. And nobody in that whole, league just you look at and just say, wow, I'd hate to face them. I don't know.
Yeah. The Rays have what they do there. And the Rays are the prime example of why it is so stupid that we're about to go into a lockout. Mm-hmm. The owners are out here crying foul and crying that they're poor and they can't do it. And they need equality so every team can be good. And one of the lowest payroll teams there are develops talent, does this every year. And look at them now. They're the best team in the American League. And Chicago's the White Sox aren't a big spending team, and they're doing well. You look at the Padres, who aren't supposed to be a big spender in the AL West, and they're coming up. Look at Milwaukee. Milwaukee might be the best team in the National League, although everyone talks about the Dodgers, who have deferred money until my great grandkids get of age. Yeah. I don't know. That bill comes due eventually, and the Dodgers are going to have their issues, but I don't blame them for what they're doing. They can, if you're willing to sign, everybody forgets Bobby Bonilla, who has the Bobby Bonilla Day up until
we don't hear
2031, sir.
2031 is that when it is?
Yep. But
there's a lot of guys that are getting more than that. Yeah.
Clayton Kershaw Day. It's until the end of our lives, we will have somebody getting paid by the Dodgers.
Yeah, from the team that we were watching. So,
and to back up your point, John, with the Rangers not really making any big no moves really at the trade deadline. Look at Detroit. They trade off Skubal, and I hate to gouge my good friend Dan Narva, who's usually tuned in from Michigan, but they're 2.5 games out of the AL Central, and they traded off their franchise pitcher. I mean, if the gauge of making the playoffs was how you looked at what you were going to do this season, that I don't know, maybe, and then he goes on and says he'd love to go back to Detroit, so the American League, and this is where, back in my Astro fandom days, the National League, you your pitchers had to hit, and there were actual strategic moves in the lineup late in games. Man, this newfangled style game just throws me off a lot.
It floors me that batting average is not a thing anymore.
Oh,
I mean, I love home runs. That's great. I love OPS. It's real, but nobody is nobody. What do they have? 4 people hitting over 300 in the entire league or something. I mean,
it's like 9, but it's ridiculously low.
It's crazy low, but used to, if you were hitting below 300, you had to be looking over your shoulder.
You better
if you're hitting below 300, you better have 30 home runs.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
We have, it's like we cloned Dave Kingman and just filtered him throughout the league, and that's just how it is now.
It's nuts.
Who was the strikeout king that the Rangers traded to the Yankees? Joey
Gallo.
Joey Gallo, yeah.
There's a bunch of Joey Gallos in the league.
It's just awful.
Oh my God, he could hit a ball 700 feet. He's one of the nicest kids in the world and all of that, but it was home run or bust.
But we thought when the shift went away, for the most part, we were going to start seeing averages rise.
Nobody knows how to take it the other way. Nobody knows they didn't do it back then. Why would they do it now? I mean, they're nobody. I was taught my whole life. I played baseball all the way through high school. When you got 2 strikes on you, you had to shorten your swing. You had to tighten up, and you had to put a ball. They would say, "Don't strike. If you can do it, don't strike out. Put the ball in play because things have to happen with the ball in play." And you know what? Nobody puts the ball in play anymore. They either strike out, pop up, or hit it 480 feet. I mean, and that's all they do now. It's mind numbing. It's so hard to watch. And the pitchers don't throw harder today than they threw back then. There's different guns that they use nowadays. Technology. Yep, really? And all of that. But no, it's different.
You can't tell me Nolan Ryan wasn't hitting triple digits all the time, well into the 7th, 8th inning.
Well, now everybody has to remember Nolan Ryan's ball was being timed right about the time it was coming to the plate. The guys today, they're getting their balls getting timed coming out of the hand.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people that they say that if you did Nolan Ryan today on the guns they use today, it probably would have been at least 103 to 106 is what he on his fastball. And at the end of his career, he would have been 100. 99 to 100.
And we're talking about a guy who pitched until he's 46 years old, still bringing that gas, still going late into games.
And a guy
What's the difference? What happened? What changed?
I'll tell you exactly what happened. They started this pitch count crap is what they did. Nolan Ryan, everybody talks about his 7 no-hitters. They were fantastic. He had 18 one-hitters or 12 something like that. And then he had in the 30s or 40s of 2-hitters, whatever the heck it was. He never had a perfect game. And
roughly
it was
26 million strikeouts.
Yeah, but why didn't he ever have a perfect game? Because Nolan Ryan, when he went into his start, if he was feeling it, if he got up there and somebody fouled one off and had a timing down or did whatever, he wouldn't throw to him. He was not afraid to walk somebody because there wasn't a pitch count that was going to pull him out. And so he was like, all right, well, if you're going to hit me, you're going to have to hit one of my pitches. Unless I make a mistake, you're not going to hit anything good because I know the next guy coming up is nowhere near my fastball, and I'll just freaking fire right at him.
And Nolan would hit people up 3-0 quite often.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're digging in? Wait a minute. That's,
right. Sweet chin music.
Well, and we talked about this a while back, and Jared Jones, my color commentary partner on Weatherford Eagle football, checking in, says greatest to ever play. It's hard to dispute that. I mean, I grew up a Nolan
as
fan.
A pitcher.
Yeah, oh my gosh,
was a huge Nolan. He's got records that his strikeout record and Cal's
never be touched. 7 no-hitters
streaks and no-hitters. Those will stand into perpetuity. But I don't really care for him as a person. 2 things: he's a Texan, and then secondly, he snubbed me at a OCU basketball game one time. Me at 19 trying to get an autograph. Waited till the timeout. Didn't hit him up during ball action. But he just looked at me and said, "Can't you see I'm trying to watch a game here?" And I'm like, "Oh, sorry, Mr. Ryan." And I walked off. I was 19 now. I'd tell him, well, now I wouldn't do it. But anyway, Jared Jones also says crazy that they never gave him the Cy Young.
Yeah,
It was that. I mean, and that kind of speaks to the fact that the Cy Young award has always been to the pitcher that's kind of on the best team, right? I mean,
exactly.
We got to remember that a lot of his early years, especially, you still had guys winning high 20s. In games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't see that anymore just because.
Did he ever win 20 games? I don't think he ever won 20 games.
I don't know if he did. I mean, hell, he had he pitched forever.
I mean, it as a kid, one of my first baseball cards in '78 was his Angels card.
Yeah.
And those were some awful teams he was on out there. And then Houston got competitive with him, but it's just I don't know. Damon Schultz checking in. I agree. Valid point. I assume it's talking about the pitch count. And then we want to mention real quick our friend Damon Schultz from A+.
He won 20 twice.
20 twice. Anyways, Damon Schultz from A+ Roofing sponsors our program, 580-772-7587. Jeremy went to Norman again last week and saw the A+ Roofing sign down there on Crossroads Boulevard. And man, I don't know if your yard has that many trees stacked up outside, but there was a bunch of limbs and trees that the storm damage took, and people still waiting on, I guess, the city of Norman to come pick up.
City of Norman got to us fairly quickly, which I can't believe. Anyways, listen, Nolan Ryan in 1973 was 21-16.
Was that Angels?
Yes, 37 decisions with a 2.87 ERA.
Wow.
Yep.
The next year was 22-16, 2.89 ERA.
Yep. Well, and the thing I love about Nolan's career was, and we talked about this a week or two ago, is there came a time, and I read an article in Sporting News back in the late 90s, early 2000s about pitchers just not willing to throw inside that much anymore, and they kind of credited the Robin Ventura charging the mound on Nolan to part of that was that upcoming pitchers didn't want to have to face, squaring off with a guy that they brush back or whatever. And, Nolan
might have Kyle Farnsworth on the mound.
Yeah. Joe Kelly. And so, but Nolan was kind of that last generation that had the stones to say, you know what, you're not getting up on the plate on me. And if you want to get hit, that's up to you. But I think they credited Danny Darwin as being one of the last remaining pitchers who would keep you brushed back off the plate at that time. But I don't know, when you watch the pitching now, they really do hit the high marks and then change ups at 88, and it's pretty stunning. But I'll say this in full transparency, I did not know about the difference in guns from what they used to be. So thanks for that insight.
Yeah, there were all kinds of different ways that they would try to do it. It used to be called a jugs machine. Now it's all the tech. Now they have TrackMan that does it, and they have cameras coming from every angle. If you ever go to a minor league game and see that, they'll set it all up. They have spin rates and all of that. Well, look, I can accept and I understand technology and using it to your advantage or doing that. But look at Mike Maddox, who got fired the other day from the Angels pitching job as the pitching coach, one of the best pitching coaches in all of baseball. And the excuse used was that he did not use the data we gave him as much as we would have liked. This is the guy you hired last year, knowing what kind of a pitching coach he is. He is not adverse to data at all. He did it with the Rangers, but he also is a guy that knows what a pitcher's going through, what the feel is, and how to coach something else without looking at all the stuff on your laptop or your little, your little iPad and doing that. He can look at it and go, yeah, you're pulling that shoulder off, or look where your footing is and there's different. No, look, I used to laugh at the old timers, and now I'm starting to embrace it, probably because I'm an old timer. But I mean, old baseball wasn't horrible.
No.
Good God, no. Give me Tony Gwynn sprinkled throughout the league, and guys that Frank Thomas. Is Walt Reniak still living?
Ichiro.
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 Remember Walt Reniak with the goofy downswing with the funky follow through with the White Sox back in the day? But Frank Thomas, heck, he hit over 335 bombs every year. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Jared Jones has trouble with the curve.
Yeah.
They said Ichiro Suzuki, they said he could have won every home run derby at the All-Star game if he joined it. They said every time that he got in a batting cage, all he did was put the ball where he wanted to, and then he would hit a couple of home runs at the end. But they said you put him in a home run derby and he could have hit 80 out in a row because that's how much control he had over it. He just wasn't – he would hit a home run when his pitch was the home run pitch that he would do. And other than that, I remember it was Lou Piniella that first year that Ichiro came into Seattle. He had just signed after, back then you had to play 10 years in Japan. You could be a free agent and come over. They didn't do this posting stuff and all that. He comes over, and all through spring training, he keeps dinking the ball down the third baseline. And Lou Piniella is red in the face, going crazy, going to the interpreter. He's like, what is up with this guy? And he's trying to explain to him, this is his process. Just let him, this is his thing. And he didn't like it. And then the season starts, and it's like, okay, I'll just shut up and sit over here.
Well, what do you have, 251 hits that first year?
Yeah, something like that.
Something insane.
Yeah, and every at-bat was a great at-bat. He was up there working counts. He was your leadoff hitter. And then, and I think it was right before the season ended, he was kind of in full mode, and he was going, oh, wait a minute. Okay, you know what? You do whatever you want to do as long as that's what you're going to do when it's time.
So, John, with all of this talk about averages and slugging percentage and on base, does that make Yordan Alvarez just kind of that much more of a unicorn right now? Because he's up there.
I sports hate that guy. Listen, let me tell you something. I've met him at the All-Star game a couple of years ago when the Rangers had the All-Star game there in Globe Life Field. And I went in, and he was, of course, on the American League team. And I walked up to him and he speaks English, but not great. And he's shy. So you don't see a lot of interviews with him that doing that. And I walked up and I said, man, I hate what you do to the Rangers, but good God. I mean, I'm a big fan, man. I admire it and all of that. And he thanked me and all of that. And he kind of laughed at it and did that. He's a unicorn. Look what he's doing this year. I mean, that whole series when Texas really needed to do something, that series down in Houston when they were, just couple weeks ago, whatever it was, why they would throw to him, I don't know. I mean, why you wouldn't just put him on, even with, unless you were up by 5 runs, just put him on. I mean, the guy, it reminds me of the old Vladdy Guerrero used to do it to the Rangers. He could be fooled on a pitch and still get a base hit. Just somehow he would put it in play and get it to where nobody was. I mean, Yordan Alvarez, far and away the best player in baseball right now, and that's even better than Ohtani right now.
Yeah. The guy is in the wrong era,
Oh, it's nuts.
He'd be just another guy, 20, 30 years ago, but heck, 140 hits at this juncture in the season, 300 career hitter, and he's still hitting a lot of home runs.
He's in a good stadium for power. I mean,
I think he's winning the Triple Crown right now. If he was.
I looked at it. What Triple Crown's average home runs and RBIs.
Right.
If he's not the leader in the Triple Crown, it's either I think Otto Lopez or Luis Arias are right there with him, and Arias is probably going to start bumping his up a little bit, being in the Phillies lineup.
But we're talking about the American League.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So,
and I think he's leading every category. He was. God, it's just it's
the Triple Crowns by league.
Yeah, they do.
The Triple Crowns by league
and National League.
For some reason, I thought it was overall.
It's rare. You don't usually see Triple Crowns. So
Miguel Cabrera is the last guy to win one.
I think so.
So
that's why you're not remembering that it's AL and NL, because it usually doesn't happen.
It's a rare sighting. We're visiting with John Moore from the DLLS Texas Rangers Weekly podcast. We're going to get into some college football in a little bit, but John, two exit questions on the Texas Rangers. Minor leaguers that could be called up here in the next short while, and then also kind of your take on how you see the calendar, because everybody's predicting a work stoppage, and I'll let you answer this one first if you want, but everybody's predicting a work stoppage. Will it Will it be once the season gets started? Will it be after the winter meetings? What do you foresee on the horizon for how baseball comes to a screeching halt?
Oh, it'll be before. It'll always be before spring training, before all of that. So the current CBA, I forget exact date when it expires. It may expire right after the playoffs, something to that effect. But when the CBA expires, is when they normally will do the lockout, because you don't want anybody at any of your facilities or anything like that until there's a deal in place for injuries, anything that could happen at a facility. You don't have
December 1.
Yeah, it's December 1. So December 1, it expires. So that's when the lockout would happen. Again, the stupidity that they've had 5 years and they're just probably hadn't even really gotten in a room yet. They've presented each other with stuff that isn't going to happen. Neither one of them are going to get 100% what they want. Owners are far too greedy. They're going to destroy the game. And look, I'm a capitalist guy that says it's your money, do what you want. But let's be honest. These guys provide a service, you got to pay them. I used to be against NIL. I used to be against money paying college players. I hated it. And then I started going to I'm a UT guy, and I went to UT games, and there were Vince Young and Colt McCoy and all these jerseys hanging in these gift shops. And I was like, and those guys were getting in trouble if they got caught getting paid $100 to sign an autograph. And the money you're making off these jerseys, I was like, yeah, they should be able to make a little something, especially if you're using their name or their image. So, I mean, the players, I think, not only do I not, they have a salary cap now, they have a luxury tax that you can, if you go over it, you pay extra, then you're willing to do it. What they really need, if you really want to get equality, they need a floor tax that you have to at least have a payroll right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, with the ownership, and this kind of transcends all sports, even though, like the Lakers just sold for a record amount. But I think of like little things, like after the World Cup, the talk was, NFL players saying, why are these guys playing on grass and we don't? What is it? Well, first thing I heard all of the NFL powerheads talking about on the media were, well, the owners aren't going to want to flip for that. And it's like, well, it's your product,
It's already been installed in a lot of these stadiums for FIFA.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant. They put it in for FIFA, then pulled it, and they're going back to the field turf for their pro team. So, owners, here's the thing. You can say you're pro-capitalism and be against, money grubbing billionaires. I truly believe there is a balance. I worked in a not for profit organization back in the 2000s that, in essence, to try to get the funding that you wanted to try to get to provide programs to kids, you had to wine and dine rich people. And by wine and dine, you had to basically, host an event that went against the whole tenets of what we were trying to teach kids. Sure. And so it's just one of those things. I'll never not disagree with the biblical stance that, it's harder for a rich man to get through the eye of a needle. And I know it's not talking about a sewing needle, but, and not to bash on the ownership, because players, baseball, I've always said baseball players are kind of the government workers of professional sports. Their contracts are guaranteed. They just they don't have near the wear and tear that, football players do or such. But I just look at it and I say, how do you not learn your lesson from 1994? Yep. How do you not look at it and say, guys, we can go a long ways, but just a pure stoppage is just going to halt any momentum we've built over the last 5 years.
Well, if it hadn't have been for the home run derby with McGuire and Sosa, I don't know that baseball would have recovered. There were a lot of people that were fed up with it. They didn't want any. It was that, and then the streak with Cal Ripken Jr. Those two things captured people's minds again in the younger generation back into baseball. But if you stop baseball, you're stupid. How stupid are you? Because right now, football is far more popular. Basketball is getting more popular. And the soccer's getting more and more popular. Hockey's fun to watch. Baseball, I love baseball, but it can be a boring sport. And I understand some that are like, I want to see more action in it, but it is the longest tenured sport in the United States, honestly, and it's America's great pastime, and they do nothing but screw it up from greed. Even in the old days, the old owners used to screw over those guys that are the ones that made them money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame, and unfortunately, guys like us will live through it potentially twice in our lifetime.
Yep.
And really bad situations in our adulthood. So, but on my other question, John, real quick, the Rangers start their weekend series in Oakland. Well, I'm sorry, in Sacramento. And it's just amazing. But Kumar Rocker on the mound tonight. He's 4-9 on the season, 4.46 ERA. What going forward and coming from the minor leagues, what do you foresee of this Ranger squad as they try to either stay with the Astros and maybe Mariners in the division and see what they can do as far as a playoff run?
As far as minor leaguers that might make it to the big leagues, there's the one guy that everybody kind of thought would, and I don't know that he eventually will because of the injury, was Sebastian Walcott, but who's tearing up AA, but he's only DHing because he's not throwing. He's throwing, but he's not playing in the field yet. With somebody, I mean, you look at what they have right now. Everyone's semi-blocked, and on the pitching staff, there might be some guys, like David Davalillo or something like that could end up, but he got called up and never pitched, or he got brought with them but never got, they do, when they travel, they bring an extra pitcher sometimes with them that they can make a quick move or do something like that. And he was a taxi squad guy that went with them, and then they never activated him. There's maybe a couple guys like that might get a chance, especially with these pitching injuries that are happening. But your Jack Leiter's about to come back, so that'll be a rotation piece that should come back. He pitched last night, did pretty well. I think he pitched 4 innings, something like that. Didn't give up any runs, but he only pitched like 50 pitches, something like that. So they've got to build him back up. Cody Bradford's looked good. Let's see what DeGrom's issue is. See if that's going to be something that's going to linger. They keep telling us Evaldi's going to be back, but it's an elbow. So I don't know. He'd had this happen last year. Same thing. It was something that wasn't actually the ligament. It was something on the exterior or something, but it was just rest that was needed. But these guys, I don't know. They're going to have to go on a run, and going on a run the pitching staff hasn't been the worst. What's been the worst has been right now is that they can't hit. They were on where they were hitting and doing well. Now they can't hit. So I don't know. I mean, it certainly doesn't look like there's a big chance of them pulling this together. So.
Okay. Well, and on a positive note, it was really nice to see Adrian Beltre and Pudge Rodriguez last night on the Field of Dreams entrance with the Hall of Famers. Beltre just, so beloved by Rangers Nation, and just Pudge, even though he won his title with Florida,
Yeah.
it was he was a staple for sure. But I will say this, guys, looking at the Field of Dreams entrance last night, Donnie Baseball, they're managing the Phillies, and seeing Jeff Kent walk in as one of the latest Hall of Famers. I think I just had that look. If I could read minds, I think I could read Donnie Baseball's last night. And I was like, how are these guys? These guys Hall of Famers, and I'm not.
Yep. I think it might be a semi Yankee bias by now. I mean, if you're not part of it, I mean, he didn't play on those World Series teams, and the Yankees have so many people that get in. It's kind of a semi,
Yeah.
If you put him and Dale Murphy into the Hall of Fame, nobody would bat an eye.
No.
It would be just fine. The world would not end.
If you didn't have numbers in front of you guys, and I said, which one's the Hall of Famer, Scott Rowland or Don Mattingly? Guys our age, think about that. Who's your first response?
I grew up watching Prime Mattingly before the back injury, and that guy was great.
He was the Yankee Clipper for that time, So
Scott Rowland, all I remember is defense.
Yeah.
Omar Vizquel's not in the Hall of Fame.
No.
No.
Yeah, and then Bob Kemp brought up a name blast from the past, and there's a comment on there. Jeremy, would you read that one from Dan Narva?
Dan Narva, REAs. Look for the green scripted Sacramento uniforms with the Las Vegas arm patch.
Yeah,
Tonight?
so that'll be fun. No, Bob Kemp, who we follow and we've had on the show before, he threw out a name the other day, and I cannot remember. It said he was the greatest defensive shortstop of all time. Daggone it.
Ozzie Smith.
Jack Wilson.
Jack Wilson.
Jack Wilson, best hands of any shortstop ever, broke the all-time MLB record with 110 consecutive errorless games at the position. So
I'm looking at Scott Rowland's career stats right now. For a third baseman, 316 home runs, career average of 281. I mean, these are Hall of Very Good numbers here. But him being in the Hall of Fame over guys like, Murph, it took Andre Dawson forever to get in the Hall of Fame. He's one of two guys with 400 home runs and 400 steals.
Yeah.
I sent a message to the Lawdog text thread, and John will be glad to add you to that over college football season if you want. But
sure,
it's a little Oklahoma biased in ways. But anyways, I sent I sent a post to the Lawdog thread and said Crime Dog looks like he could still get out and bat 260. I mean, he looked sharp last night.
He'd probably lead the league.
Power, but all right. So baseball is going on. We'll keep up with that, and if the Rangers do make a playoff push, we'll have you back on with regards to that. But also, John, you have a podcast called the Texas College Football Podcast, and you're gaining traction with that, and a lot of stuff to cover within the state of Texas for you. I want to show you something real quick, and I want your honest take on this, and I think I know what it's going to be because you've succumbed to the burnt orange, fruit punch. But anyways, I thought this was an interesting, let's see if I can get it pulled up here. This is A&M's alt uniform this year.
I saw that this morning and threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Have they said what game they're going to wear this in, or?
I missed it. On3 just posted that probably for the clickbait, and they achieved what they were looking for. That's now he's got the Tate Sandell pants, so Jeremy can't poke too much fun. But
I don't care about the pants; it's the rest of it.
Now, John, answer me this: as a Texan, are you supposed to support that because it has the flag there on it, or can you turn your nose at it?
I can always turn my nose at a team that is at anything. I don't, even if it's my own team, I can turn my nose at it. I couldn't stand the Texas Rangers old Friday night uniforms, that whatever that was. I didn't like those. So these, I don't understand it. But you know what? Hats off to OU and Texas. They don't change their uniforms.
OU does some.
We got the unity,
but not like this. Maybe but for the most part, it's the red helmet. I know you do have the white helmet sometimes, but Texas does it. Penn State stays the same. I like Michigan stays the same. Ohio State stays the same. You never know what brand of puke, yellow, green, or whatever is going to come out in an Oregon uniform when they come walking out of a tunnel.
OSU's kind of taking Oklahoma State's kind of taking that page too.
If you've got a great looking traditional kit, why would you?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm telling you, the old Oregon uniforms with the cartoon duck, fantastic.
Yeah,
just fantastic.
The early Mike Bellotti era Oregon stuff is good.
Well, Alabama just has the numbers.
Dan Fouts era.
Yeah, Alabama just has the numbers on the helmet and does that. I mean, you don't mess with tradition in my estimation. That's just
and I'll say this: I saw a post earlier, and I don't know if it was true or not, but the fact that OU might be contemplating a white uniform with their or a white helmet with their white uniforms, that's too much. That's too close to the Texas icy whites for
everyone
me.
In the state over 40 we will all meet for a J6 style reunion at the Switzer Center if that happens.
I say go for it then. Obviously, I say go for it. Do it. I want to see OU fans up in
Man, the the two best road uniforms in the SEC, Texas Icy Whites and that Oklahoma white with the red helmet, just
Absolutely.
fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, I
Don't
tell you
mess
what,
with
though, I am a fan of Kentucky blue. About anything they do catches my eye, honestly.
Yep.
Well, that's all well and good. It looks better on a basketball court. Maybe it's the product, but
Hey, you
just
don't bash Mark Stoops on this show. He's doing a fine
I'm not
job down in
bashing Mark
Austin right
Stoops.
now.
Who's bashing Mark Stoops? You
I
brought
saw
him
it.
up.
I saw yesterday they had a picture of him in burnt orange. He's some kind of,
He's
what's he doing
analyst.
down there? Yeah.
Yeah, brother Bob answered that tweet with horns down.
Yeah, that was funny. Perfect.
Okay.
That was fantastic.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
that. Both
Yes.
of them. I thought Bob Stoops' response was great.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So we're visiting with John Moore from the DLLS Texas Rangers Weekly Podcast. Go back and catch our Rangers talk if you would later. And then also he hosts the Texas Football College podcast. And John, speaking of the University of Texas at Austin and their hiring of Mark Stoops, I think what I read is he's not just an analyst, he's special assistant to Coach Sarkisian. I gotta say, and I was mediocre on the hiring of Will Muschamp. I'm never a fan of getting the band back together, really, except for this show. And but man, I think you throw Mark Stoops' defensive prowess in there to maybe taper off some of that hyper aggression that Muschamp will be throwing out. Maybe this is the season that you see the Texas defense with all of that talent they've got. And I got to give Sark credit on his portal additions. They seem like, he finds guys who are ready to shine, but I think the only weakness I've heard of is maybe depth in the secondary at corner, with all that, and safety, and with all of that blitzing from Muschamp, putting guys on an island. You never know what's going to happen, but talk about what you foresee with this Texas defense.
Everything I'm reading, I mean, of course, I like you guys who follow all the Oklahoma fall practice intel and what's coming out. I've been following it down there. Apparently, the one that's, of course, everyone talks about Colin Simmons and what he's going to do, and he's just been outstanding up until this point. So you picture that, but this Rasheem Biles is the one that's. I mean, apparently, they said this guy's going to be a problem for people. He is just. Go back and watch him at Pitt. Of course, it was Pitt playing who they played, but apparently he has been a disruption. And I think what's really helped is they've gotten some depth at the defensive line. And if you can get any sort of pressure from your interior defensive line, it just opens up the possibilities of everything. And it's why Oklahoma's defense is supposed to be, we got Venables, obviously, doing it, but Oklahoma and Texas are supposed to both have top two defenses in the SEC from what I'm hearing.
Yeah. And Jeremy, what's funny, and I'll pull up this graphic as well. On three's got their top 25 and there's been several we've shown on here, Texas at 3, Georgia at 4. That's the first poll I've seen, maybe other than just individual magazines or publications. That's the first kind of consensus poll I've seen. I assume it's a consensus poll that's got Georgia behind Texas. And I think people still people still, banking that Kirby's kind of got the formula, to navigate the SEC, but this one also has OU at 8 and basically third in the SEC, which we saw the preseason polls with what OU was picked 7th. But John, just looking at this season for the Longhorns, and I know they'll bring in talent next year as well. Colin Simmons probably going to go to the NFL. Well, I say that. The NIL money is obviously really good in Austin, but, he may want to go ahead and test the draft.
He's a day one pick, Chuck.
Yeah,
he's top 5.
Sunday money's more than NIL.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, we're talking about the University of Texas at Austin also. So, Arch Manning.
Well, Sark's talking about salary cap issues down there too.
There's a lot of talk about possibility with now this 5 for 5 and people coming back and NIL money's great. The only one I could see that maybe, and there's some some talk about would Arch Manning consider coming back. It's very unlikely. You think he's going to be a top 1-1 or whatever. I think the only way you could possibly see Arch coming back isn't a money thing. I think it's a who's got the number 1 pick. And the Mannings are well known for, remember what they did. They did it.
No Jets.
They did not go to the Jets, and that the way they are. And let's say the Browns are sitting there or something like that, and they are adamant on they don't want him to go and die where every other quarterback goes to die at 1-1. Coming back to Texas one more year would be fine. And he's going to make his endorsements. He's going to make his thing, and he's going to, even if he had an off year, he would still make a few $1 million down there. So I think this year he's making like 5, but most of it isn't even from the collective. It's from his deals he has with different things. So that's the one. I think Colin Simmons, he's a defensive player. It doesn't matter who's got what pick. If he's going in the top 5, he's going to go play wherever. I mean, you know what I mean? Because it's not about getting killed at quarterback. You're the one doing the killing on the defensive side of the ball. So you're ready to go to the league.
But to preface my question, guys, and I'm sorry I kind of got derailed, but is this a natty or bust team? I mean, they came away last year with high ranking in the preseason. They should be better offensively this year by far, really.
Yeah, especially with Cam Coleman and those running backs. Now the the offensive line was an issue that started to play better by the end of the year, and then they went out and addressed that with the portal. We're hearing good things. We're hearing they've struggled some in the fall practices on that offensive line, but they're going against it's kind of like if you're hearing bad things about the OU offensive line, it's because they're going against the best defensive line in the country right now. So, so you can take that with a grain of salt, right? You can be like, oh no, is this a problem? Or, oh no, are they just facing the best defensive lineman and whatever right now? And and when they go play someone else that doesn't have that pressure and all of that, they're going to look like world beaters. So, it helps. Look, OU is going to be prepared to go against Texas defense because they're on offense because they're going against a great defense right now in practice every day. Same with Texas. They're going to be better prepared to go against Ohio State and Oklahoma because they're going against good defense right now. If you're not playing good defenses in practice, it's Texas Tech all over again. I've said it 100 times. Yeah. Texas Tech, I kept saying, I don't see it. They're going to play a team with the defense, and it's going to just – and same with what A&M did last year. Yeah. And look, A&M was good, but they did not play – the teams that had defenses they played, they were 11-0 or 10-0 going into that game against or 11-0 going into the game against Texas. First team of the defense basically shut them down. And then they go play Miami, probably the best defense in the country last year, one of them. They get shut down. Texas Tech goes to play Oregon, who has a good top 5 defense. They can't do nothing on offense. And it's not because their offense wasn't good. Their offense had never been tested. They had never played anybody. I mean, BYU wasn't a test to get you prepared for the playoffs. And doing that, and let me be clear. The show I do, the Texas College Football Show, is not about the University of Texas.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Oh no, I make no biases, and I try to be really fair with everyone. Like this year, I did I ranked there's 13 FBS schools in the state of Texas that play at the top level that could technically play in the college football playoffs. Obviously, there's only 2 or 3, maybe 4 that have a real chance to make it to the CFP or win a national championship. But when I did coaches, I ranked the coaches. Number 4 on my list was Sarkisian. I did not have him as the top coach. I had Elko number 1, who I hate. I mean, I don't like A&M, but he's the best coach in my opinion. I had Joey McGuire up there. It's hard to argue with Rhett Lashley and what he's doing at SMU. It's hard to argue. I mean, and Sark at 4, and just because Sark has got the talent there, but he hasn't gotten it to I think it's got to at least be the national championship game he's got to get to.
And one thing that gives me, I don't want to say optimism about Texas defense because I don't want to be optimistic about anything UT. The last time they brought in I guess a retread defensive mind to instill nasty in that defense was when they brought in Gary Patterson as a special assistant to the coach. And that defense all of a sudden became nastier and more physical.
Yep.
Same thing's going to happen with Muschamp. because he can coach that defense, and his defenses are typically just disgusting physical units.
Yeah.
Hey,
So-
he was in the same job that Stoops is with in Texas right now with
Yep.
Georgia the last couple of years, and look at those Georgia defenses and what they did. I mean, Muschamp was not a good head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just say this.
It happens.
I didn't feel like Georgia was that special on defense last year.
They when they figured out their identity later in the season, they were.
Yeah. Well,
I
know it's Jimmy's and Joe's in a lot of ways, but John, looking at the viable schedules, and we'll talk Red River shootout because it's not a rivalry, it's not a blowout, it's a shootout. I've got Texas probably rolling into Dallas at 4-0. I probably have Oklahoma rolling in at 3-1 at the best, and that's with them pulling. I don't think they'll go into Athens and get the victory. And Jeremy will get you in on this too. Is Texas undefeated, or do they suffer a loss prior to Red River?
I think Texas is undefeated because I do think playing in Austin this year, I think Ohio State, of course, the Ohio State game's the one. The Tennessee, I guess, could be the one that you might question because they are going to go to Tennessee. I just think they're just, the depth is so good. I think they are undefeated heading into that. I've actually got Texas losing to OU this year. I've got them, and I haven't done it yet, but I've got them. I got Texas last year. I bought all the hype, and then before I realized, look, I don't care if you are a world beater going through the SEC is going to be almost impossible to go undefeated. There's just week in, week out. I mean, can they? Sure, they can absolutely go undefeated. Yeah. And I think that A&M game really depends on what happens 2 weeks before in that LSU game. I think Texas loses 2 games, but I've got it like, look, if they beat LSU, they might go into to College Station and lose. If they lose to LSU, they may run A&M out of that building the very last game because I don't think they're going to lose 2 out of 3 at the end of the season. So I don't know, but I think they're going to look. There are legitimate chance that 5 teams in the SEC are going to make it to the college football playoffs. I really think that. It is a tough league. And contrary to what everyone thinks, Texas and OU coming over to SEC made it the best conference. Yes, I know the Big Ten has won the last 3 or 4 years or whatever it is. That's great. But top to bottom, that is not the best conference in college football. It is the SEC, and it's not even close. You go take the bottom half of the SEC right now, go take the bottom half and throw them in the Big 12, and Texas Tech is not undefeated, period.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They're not.
Well, there's also some – go ahead, Jeremy.
A Saturday afternoon in the fall trip to Vanderbilt's a little different than a Saturday afternoon, in the fall trip to Rutgers.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's just too many, there's too many athletes in the Southeast region. There's a lot of bad schools.
And I think also the influx of new coaches in the SEC with Silverfield at Arkansas, Summerall at Florida, and then Golish at Auburn. I mean, you're kind of talking about some sleeping giants that could get things rolling and just really make the SEC a bloodbath. But then you've got bowl games, and that's a toss up. But non-conference games and such, I agree with you. I think the top half of the Big Ten can compete with anybody.
Yep, absolutely.
Country, obviously,
absolutely.
But like I said, I think this is kind of a do or die season for Sark. I'm not saying Texas would pull the plug on it, but if he can't make it to the semifinals at least and be in the game to fight for a chance to go to the finals, he's probably going to test the NFL waters eventually. I mean, I know he's got it good down in Austin, but pressure.
He won't get fired. He won't get fired, but he would feel. Listen, and let me tell you another thing that I had threw this out. Nobody even thought of. If he did test the NFL, think of that team that's got the #1 overall pick, no matter who it is, going into the NFL, hiring Steve Sarkisian to be the coach.
To get Arch.
And I can guarantee you who's leaving to go to the NFL.
Sure.
The quarterback who has blossomed under him is going to go and play for that. And I don't I don't know that Sark wants to be an NFL. I mean, listen, money's money. It's going to happen. It's so different in the NFL than it is. Look, it's more time consuming in college football with recruiting and everything you got to do. But I don't know. I could see it though. I mean, he is a guy that's, he's a California guy. Then he's a California guy and all of that. So he's not married to Austin. In fact, I don't know if you've ever seen the story when he got offered the job. He had never been to Austin. And so he was a little worried about going to a college town. He thought, what, I've been here at Alabama doing great, but I'm here in Tuscaloosa and really there's nothing here but the University of Alabama. Do I really want to do that? And they looked up Austin and saw the skyline and he called him right back and said, I'll take it. He didn't realize that Austin was a big city like that. Mm. He said, I didn't know. As far as I knew, I was going to Lubbock. He said,
Shots
I didn't.
Fired. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, and Lubbock, no offense to Lubbock, but Lubbock is basically nothing. It's Lubbock. Yeah. It's a big city, but it's Lubbock and there's nothing around there. So you're not 2 hours away from a huge city or an hour away or something like that. It's Lubbock or bust when you get out to that far West Texas.
Well, so you could see Sark taking the Chargers job after this season once the Harbaugh falls on his face again.
Harbaugh decides to make a move. Marty Wandrew with shots fired. That's what the shotgun sound effect. I would rather beat an undefeated Texas team on October 10th. So there's your Red River shootout smack talk there. But real quick, guys, on this top 25 from On 3, I don't have a lot of issues with it just because, there's so many unknowns with regards to this season. It's easy to say Ohio State and Oregon are going to be tops, but I mean, Indiana's reigning champion. People are really quick to jump on Notre Dame. We know they're Notre Dame. So I don't know. I mean, and as far as the SEC goes, like you said, John, the champion could be walking out with 2 losses in conference easily,
Easy.
And, but real quick, and I want to touch on this with you real quick because we know that Texas, A&M, OU, Missouri, Arkansas, they're the Western quadrant of the SEC. I miss the old Southwest Conference days. I miss the old Big 8 days. I miss the old Big 12 days in the early times when we had A&M and Nebraska. But looking at the way they've set up the 3 teams that the SEC squads will face perennially, are you pretty happy with I mean, obviously you got to keep OU in Texas above everything else, but how do you feel about, I guess Texas's, who's their third?
They got A&M, their little pod, you mean?
Yeah.
They got OU, A&M, and I believe their fourth one, is it Arkansas?
I thought it was Arkansas.
It may be. Yeah. So y'all kind of got what I thought we would get. I mean, I thought it would be like a Arkansas, A&M, Texas.
Y'all got Missouri, right?
Yep.
Didn't we get Ole Miss too?
Got Ole Miss, Missouri, and Texas.
Yeah. So I just on that, I'm not a big fan. But real quick, the ACC Atlantic Coast Conference does have a little bit of a footprint in the Texas state, and that is the Southern Methodist University Mustangs, coached by Rhett Lashley. One last season, I guess, with quarterback Kevin Jennings. They are kind of one of the 2, besides Miami and Louisville, and Miami's kind of a shoe-in on the college football playoff predictor. But I think I mean, Southern Methodist, they beat that Miami team in Dallas last year. How much you're in the Metroplex? How much do you kind of keep up with the Ponies?
Actually, I'm a little more than not. I've kept. I went to cover a game last year there. Got a credential there, and when they played Baylor, they're good. Kevin Jennings is an underrated quarterback, in my opinion. I don't know that he's NFL caliber. He's only about 6 foot, maybe 6'1". He's dual threat, not true dual threat. He's a guy that can extend plays with his legs, but he has started there for like 4 years. I mean, and he's put up numbers every year and good numbers, and he's beat big games. He beat Miami, like you said. They beat Baylor last year, who was supposed to be decent last year. Actually, they ended up losing to Baylor. I take that back. That's right. Baylor beat them in overtime. But I'm telling you right now, SMU, they went to the playoffs the year before, and they ended up getting smoked by I forget who they got. They ran into
they went to they go to Ohio. They go to
they went
Ohio
to Penn State.
Penn State.
Penn State, and they got beat by Penn State. But they listen, when it comes to NIL and money, SMU's got more billionaires in that zip code right there, where it's the richest zip code in the state of Texas is where SMU is. It's right there where Highland Park is.
Highland Park.
And so they've got money they can spend for sure on these guys. And when I was a kid, now I'm older than y'all, SMU was a perennial power. Back in the days, they were doing NIL before NIL was cool. They were paying those players.
They were the OGs.
Yep. They used to play their home games at the old Texas Stadium where the Cowboys played. And I remember going to Texas OU game or SMU Texas games there where it was sold out and it was hard to get a ticket. And man, those were some unbelievable games.
Yeah. One of my favorite 30 for 30s is the Pony XS.
That's awesome.
Documentary.
Awesome.
I wish they would have thrown some hard balls at Craig James, but I guess he still had some
now that's my age right there. When that all went down was right when I was graduating high school, freshman, sophomore. Some of those players were guys I played against, that were at Highland Park and other places that ended up going to SMU. And then all of that fell apart about 1 or 2 years after I was out of high school. That all came apart. But, they were good back then, and they're getting better now.
I think OU played them in 84 or 85. I remember watching that game. It was after Dickerson, and they had a really good running back that year, but OU took care of business. But I like the job that Lashley's doing there. I think they are regardless of conference, I think they are the program there in the Metroplex. I think you would probably bank on SMU to get further than TCU, but we'll see what Sonny Dykes dials up.
Are you sleeping on North Texas?
Well, and that was going to lead into my next question, and you do so well on this show, John. Looking at the non-FBS the group of 6 conferences, which have a footprint in the state of Texas, the AAC, and you think about this, guys, the AAC was just rough rated by Power 5, by the SEC and the Big 12 in essence. But Eric Morris goes to OSU. I remember watching your episode where you were talking about the potential dominoes before Morris hired on with OSU, and GJ Kinney potential down at Texas State. But it seems like the group of 5 schools in Texas really, and we talked about this with Corey Hogue in the last couple of weeks. These group of 5 schools, they should be getting the European soccer style is how Corey mentioned. I
saw that. That was awesome. You're talking about getting paid, getting some sort of transfer fee or something.
Yeah, transfer fees.
Awesome. You know what? I almost wanted to get a hold of Corey to join me. I did a show that's about to come out, and I think it's dropping today. Maybe it's called Super Conferences. And I got into my lab, and I decided that if it started with SMU talking about maybe leaving the Big 12 and going somewhere else. And then everybody talks about these conferences are all going to be super conferences one day. And how would it work? And I said, okay, well, let's do this. How could we do a super conference and do this? And no, let's not just add on to the ACC, SEC, Big 10. You'd have to start from scratch. What would you do? So here's what I came up with. And y'all can look at it when you see how I did it. I came up, first of all, you would divide them into 5 conferences. I thought of maybe 6, but I decided 5 and I do it by time zones. So you've got the Eastern time zone, the Central time zone, and then you combine the Mountain and the Pacific. And in the Mountain and Pacific, believe it or not, there's really only every conference in the Eastern. You have 2 conferences. You have the North and you have the South. In the Central, it was hard to do North and South because there were more Southern teams that are down South. So you kind of did a Super Central, and then you did a Super Central South, which kind of had the Texas schools and Oklahoma and right in there. So there was a little way to divide
Southwest
it.
Conference.
it really was. It was kind of like that. And then you do the Super West, and I called it the Super West. And so each league has 16 teams. every league has 16 teams. Every game has to be played within your conference. And each conference has 4 pods. So you're going to have your normal rivalries because, and in the Super South or the Central South Super Conference, obviously Oklahoma State, Texas A&M, they were one of the pods, right? So they would play each other. Those 3 games were every year. They would play each other. But the other 3 4-game pods, you would play 2 of them, and that would give you 11 games. Now, you could stay with an 11-game series. There would be no more conference championship BS. Or you would add 1 12th game, and at the beginning of your year, you'd have a tune-up G6 conference because there would still be some of those that you would play to tune up, and they put a little money in their pocket to do that.
Yeah.
And then you would play only those. Those pods would rotate every 2 years because you would have to do a home and home, and you would be playing a bunch of and the top 4 teams from each conference would make the playoffs. There'd be 20 teams in the playoff. Top 4 teams. And it wouldn't matter if you were the 6th best team in one conference and you were far better than 10 teams in all 10 teams in one conference. If you weren't in 4th place in your conference, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anything about it. You should have been, and all the tiebreakers, if you didn't play one head-to-head, you would have tiebreakers built in because they would be playing somebody you would be playing for sure if you weren't playing each other. And you could go off of that. You could go off point. There's all these ways to break it down. But y'all watch it, see how I lined it up, the schools I lined it up when it gets out. And
I'll check that out.
It went to I went in my garage and built this monster that would never happen. But I lined up these schools and it was fun to do. And by the way, Notre Dame, you're joining the damn conference. Get the hell out.
Yeah.
How many bundles of yarn did you go through with this?
Oh
And
God, it was
also,
crazy.
They I guess ESPN is behind a 20-team playoff when they go to expansion instead of 24. Perfect. Just tailor it to that. Maybe you could name each pod something different, like the Pacific 16 and the Big 12, maybe, and the
exactly. And what I did with it too, one of the big things I did too was oh God, I lost my train of thought. But
are you gonna have graphics for this on your pod?
No, I didn't do graphics. I did. Yes, I did. Yeah, there's graphics that lay out each team. Yeah. I did an example. Oh, I know what it was. You know how they do the CFP rankings that happen halfway through the year? It would still be sort of called that. I don't know what you'd call it. I hate getting any committee involved because I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. But you have to do something because AP and all that crap is BS. So, but it would only be a top 20. There's no top 25. It would only be 20. And you could only go from the top 4 teams in each conference at that time. So it could change every week. Somebody could drop out because somebody else could move into 4th or 3rd place. And those committees would rank teams off of there. So you would have your top 20, and then the last game of the season would have so much at play, whether this team beats this team to put them in 4th or whatever, and then the committee could vote them. And if you don't like where you're ranked in the top 20 through that, get over it. You should have been in 1st place or you should have done better, but you're in the CFP. Now you go play the playoff system. The first 12 teams, the first 12 teams get a bye. And then the bottom 8 have to do a kind of a play-in thing. Okay.
Are there bowl games in this system?
So it kind of the way it is now, they host those first 8 games, or there's 4 games that first weekend. Those are home series where you go play the home team, and then you start integrating in the playoffs.
Okay.
After that. Or you do the bowl games.
If you're the 5th team in the Deep Southwest Conference, do you get to play in a bowl game?
I guess.
I mean, I'm just saying this because of the fact that I think we need to completely kill off the bowl system.
I do too.
The 14th in the Big South Conference would go to the Pinstripe Bowl, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Armed Forces Bowl would be, without a player. I like it, John, and I like the fact that anybody takes the time to come up with some sort of solution to a problem that we all see is there. We will tune in as well and look forward to your episode. You said it drops today?
It's supposed to. The producer's got it. He's had it. I did it last week, so it's a matter of putting it together and getting it out.
Okay.
Very cool.
Well, we will look forward to that.
He told me it's dropping. I'll get it out there.
And that's primarily on YouTube, right?
Yes.
The Texas College Football Podcast. We will share the link to that on our social media pages at Lawdog Sports. John, we have kept you a long, long time today, but man, we sure appreciate all the information and the analysis. And we'll be paying attention to what the Rangers do to finish out the month of August and getting into September. And like I said, if we get into a playoff run for the Rangers, we'll reach out to you. Oh, real quick, last thing. Did you catch the 16-minute delay in the Red Sox Blue Jays game earlier in the week on the scoreboard error?
No, I didn't. Wait a minute. Was that the one where there was supposed to be 2 outs and there was one?
The scoreboard had the outs wrong. And so it was just a cluster.
Yeah, I did see I saw the highlights of that. Oh yeah.
16-minute delay, and they finally come back and said that even though it was the 3rd out, the run scored because Toronto left the field. And
right. Yeah, I did see that.
And so back on baseball, screwing things up. Just when you think that they can't do it more, they find a way.
I used to umpire baseball. It's the umpire's job to know exactly how many outs there are, no matter what's on the scoreboard. And you can turn around and tell the batter or anybody, hey, there is 1 out or there is 2 outs. So I do got to run, guys.
All right. Take care, John.
Thanks, John.
Great to see you, bud.
Take care.
Appreciate you. All right. He's John Moore from the DLLS Texas Rangers Weekly Podcast and also the Texas College Football Podcast, which will be dropping.
Texas College Football Podcast.
The Texas College Football Podcast.
Why can I not find it?
Try YouTube. I don't think he has
YouTube.
an actual page for it.
Okay. I am on YouTube.
Try the Recliner Nerd.
Well, what the heck? Huh.
So
can't find it. I found us.
Yeah.
Weird.
Huh.
Oh, the Texas College Football
Podcast.
Okay.
So
that'll probably change everything.
Yeah. So anyways, we appreciate John Moore. He's such a great dude and taking the time. We really taxed him today, Jeremy. We're an hour and 17 minutes into this episode, but
I mean, I appreciate his time. That was awesome.
Yeah. But we did not get into the whole Little League World Series dispute between Texas and Oklahoma. So there was that. And then also, like I mentioned, it was, did you see Carson Benj, the former, he's an Oklahoma kid, I believe, maybe I think OSU. Did you see where he caught the final out in the Mets game? And I forget the name of the closer, but he was an Asian guy. First career save, and the final out's a pop up, and Benj catches it and then throws it into the stands.
I did not see that.
Dude's first career save, and the memento gets tossed. So, well, anyways, but I tell you, so much stuff going on with sports, and we could go another hour if we had it, but it is going to be tough to curve all of that. But it's great to talk to John, and now that Texas and OU are in the SEC, we have a voice that will talk about Longhorn football. I didn't get too deep into,
and we get to talk about the legend that is Nolan Ryan. Sorry for your experience, Chuck, but
yeah, I mean, I recognize the greatness of the player, but like they
watched him pitch and didn't know he could probably be an asshole.
Don't meet your hero.
Right.
But, I mean, it was cool of Nolan to be at OCU at that time because it was the final season of legendary head coach Abe Lemons.
Yeah.
Who had been at the University of Texas and I believe became a friend of Nolan's while he was there. And Abe Lemons, a great quote back in the day. He was on record as telling Howard Cosell, "You might be a big deal in New York, but in Walters, Oklahoma, you're nothing." And I interviewed him for the campus newspaper when he announced his retirement, and I didn't get the byline because I turned in my story late. But I didn't break the news, but I did get to do one of the interviews of him in his announcement of his retirement. So. He was a lot of fun. So
very cool.
Yeah. And then, like I said, Nolan and his lovely wife were at Frederickson Fieldhouse watching the game. And I saw him there. Somebody pointed him out. I run back to my dorm room. I had an article that I cut out from the Tulsa World in 1989 about his next no-hitter coming up soon. Grabbed the cutout of the newspaper, took it up there, waited for a timeout, asked him to sign it, and he looks at me. He's like, "Can't you see I'm watching a game?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir." And then he just kind of grabs it out of my hand and signs it. And hands
Oh, he
it back.
signed it? Well, at least he
Did
signed
sign
it.
Yeah.
Okay. You should have thrown that in there because
Yeah.
he was a jerk, but at least all your effort didn't go unfulfilled.
Well, and like I've said before, my liking and tolerance of Major League Baseball memorabilia went out the door in '96 when I had to do protection detail for Harmon Killebrew and Warren Spahn. I really realized the racket that goes into MLB memorabilia, but that's why you noticed me at the airport. I didn't hotbox athletes. I didn't hotbox coaches. I did hotbox broadcasters. I'll admit that. If Tirico was rolling into town for a Thunder playoff game, I was gonna walk by and try to chat him up.
Yeah, I only really ever talk to Ray Young when he comes through, and Kevin Wilson's always really cool.
Merv Johnson was one of my buddies that would visit out at the airport. He would come in to pick up his daughter a lot of times, kind of later sometimes. I don't know, she was traveling for work or family or something, but at the time, Merv told me that little Joe was living with him.
Yeah.
flying back and forth from Baltimore.
Little Joe's he's a great guy.
And I
always
told Coach,
friendly.
I told Coach, I said, I'd give anything to be able to film you guys for like a week.
The Odd Couple.
Yeah, exactly. He says, well, he goes, Joe will get off work at about 6:30 or 7, and he'll call me and ask me if I want something to eat. And I've already eaten 2 or 3 hours before.
Well, it really is, Chuck.
Oh, yeah. I'm Team Merv on that one now.
Very cool.
But Merv was always very cordial, very friendly, and always great to visit with when I was out at the airport. But football last night, Jeremy, a lot of NFL action, and I think there's some games tonight, if I remember right.
Did you see G-Baby's debut with the Niners?
Man, wait, who?
Grayson Halton.
Oh, yeah. That's G-Baby. Yes, I saw that, and man, you talk about that. Now, the tweet I saw said that here's Grayson Halton abusing one of the top guards in the NFL.
Baldinger had a very complimentary breakdown of him on Twitter this morning, and yeah, he's seeing what we all saw when he was at OU.
He was a gamer.
Get off and motor. The kid can flat play, and he's going to make until the electrical substation comes for his knees. He's going to be really good.
So harsh.
But they just lost another starter yesterday with a groin injury that's going to keep him out several weeks. Nate Hobbs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The substation is maybe since they signed Eli Apple for depth, maybe he'll be the last one claimed.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. Everybody thought The Matrix was just a conspiracy theory type movie, that could never even be fathomed back in ’99. And look where we're at now.
I know.
The substation stuff will gain traction. Somebody somewhere will find the memo. Tonight, Broncos at Atlanta, the Falcons, quarterback. I think Penix will likely get some snaps.
Penix is out. Tua is starting.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought Tua was out.
I think maybe I've
you're right. They've got Tua, I guess, listed as the starter.
Who's their third quarterback? And it's someone we know.
It's daggone it.
Oh,
it's Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush, that's right. The Cooper Rush in Atlanta could start as early as week 1.
Yeah, he could be the best quarterback on their roster, really. I mean,
I think Penix has a lot of talent. Mm-hmm. He just cannot keep himself on the field.
Yeah, he's Tua with the ACL with a knee.
Tua is one of those guys who was a really good college quarterback, but the game just doesn't translate. Arm strength and size, he doesn't have either.
Well, and just what he's seeing, based on the head concussions that he's sustained,
Yeah, he's got one of those squishy toys between his ears.
Yeah. Can you believe that they've got a running back named Brian Robinson and a running back named Bijan Robinson?
Yeah, I know. Just at least we're not going to be drafting this year, so there will be no confusion on our end.
Yes, and thank you very much. We want to remind people, and Damon Schultz checking in for my 49ers is a mash unit yearly now. That is a
Grayson Halton is going to be an absolute stud at that level.
Around. Yeah. So anyways, Jalen Waddle questionable in that one. J.K. Dobbins always questionable. So, and then also Bucks at Jets. Do you think Baker gets any snaps in that one?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe a series.
Connor Bazelak listed on as I guess getting the start. So
at this point in the preseason, you don't really need it.
No. But I mean, last night Burrow got snaps. So
Burrow missed the majority of last season.
Yep. Malik Willis may get the start tonight for the Dolphins at Washington. We forgot to mention the Jaden Daniels conundrum down at LSU.
What a nerd.
I gotta say, I mean, college football and Heisman trophies, you're going to get a statue at a college.
Sure.
I mean, that's your Heisman Trophy winner.
And if you win a national championship, you're going to get your jersey retired.
Thank you, because that team that Jaden Daniels won the Heisman on, and I'm sorry, that was kind of a default Heisman that season. He had the numbers, but it wasn't a stand.
That wasn't a great team.
No, and I think they finished with 3 losses. But Burrow navigated, and granted, he had amazing weaponry at his disposal. But he navigated what people basically a consensus that could be the best offense of all time.
And they won a national title.
They won a national title.
There's a huge factor in the reason why he got his jersey retired. He won a Heisman and a national title.
Yeah. For those of you unclear, Jaden Daniels, quarterback for the Washington Commanders, has apparently sent a letter to the University of Louisiana State saying you're no longer permitted to use my name, image, likeness in any of your promotions. And somebody said he wanted his Heisman back.
Yes, he wants the replica of his Heisman the school has back.
No,
stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
But here's the thing, and I hate to play, old granddad here, but when you bring in guys who didn't really have a lot of loyalty to the school, but just were looking for the opportunity to help themselves, is this what you're going to see more of?
Yeah, you are.
Yep.
Because you don't have that, what am I trying to say? A lot of these guys go, especially up until this, you go to a school, you build a network throughout the program, the school, the community, you belong there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see these guys when they're done playing, that's where they live because they're in that community. These guys, they're mercenaries.
Yeah.
They're just going with whoever's going to give them the biggest bag.
And I will even go this far, Jeremy. Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
He transferred from Alabama basically because he knew that they weren't going to go off of Tua.
Yep.
It wasn't I need to go to a bigger school, more money, better my situation thing. It was a better my situation thing, but it was for the opportunity, not because of any.
It was purely development for him.
There you go. And so I look at that one a little different, but yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of these things. I mean, because, and it's hard for me as an OU fan to throw this out there, but I mean, do Auburn fans really feel like Cam Coleman was engaged the entire time he was on the Plains? And if things aren't going great for him at Texas, I mean, I didn't feel like it felt like there was.
If you're a receiver, and you're open the majority of the time and your quarterback simply cannot deliver the football to you, yeah, you would disengage. That's human nature.
Yeah. I don't know. It just we'll see. Texas, I think back on Texas, their portal additions I think are sharp. I think they spent a lot of money in the portal, but I think the players they picked up were really solid. But I think you just run the risk of a guy saying, things don't go well, things don't go right, what are you dealing with after that? But
Well, Cam Coleman has a very good vertical leap to snag all those highly thrown Arch Manning passes.
That's what I put on Twitter today. Is it just kind of figured that he's going to throw everything high, and they're just working on it now? They admitted that. They come to terms. So, anyways, Damon Schultz says that's it. They won a title. So, yeah, Burrow's going to be looked at a little bit differently with a natty under and a convincing natty at that. And so, big time difference there. But that Brian Kelly, collecting his payout from LSU and then also causing them issues with their former Heisman Trophy winners. So way to go. All right. Well, we probably need to start getting out of here as, we have run really long, but it sure was a fun episode. You got something?
Oh, no. We have a visitor, so.
Okay. Well, let's get you out of here and let you start your weekend. But, man, I sure appreciate you jumping on with me as you always do. I didn't anticipate you to be here today, but your plans changed and you were able to jump on. So always makes it a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me on at short notice.
We're bros. We want to thank John Moore from the DLLS, Texas Rangers Weekly Podcast, and the Texas College Football Podcast. He said his episode is dropping today on YouTube. We will share the link to that on our social media. Check out our webpage at Lawdog Sports and be sure and follow us and subscribe to our material and our content. And we appreciate everybody jumping in. Dan Narva, Jared Jones, and Damon Schultz. You guys really make it fun to have comments on here. And Damon Schultz, owner of A+ Roofing and Construction, one of our primary sponsors, 580-772-7587. If you've got storm damage and roof damage, things like that, you need to get hold of Damon. He is, I would have to say, he has to be the most trustworthy guy in the roofing business that I know of. And I've gone through some roofs, Jeremy.
Oh, same.
So anyways, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Follow us and subscribe. Share our content with your friends and contacts on social media. We appreciate you very much. Be safe out there and don't text and drive, and sure, don't drink and drive.